आप देख रहे हैं हमारा YouTube चैनल दी सच्चा भारत और आज के इस बुलेटिन में आपका स्वागत है।
And all the distinguished guests who are here to mark the occasion of the 50th anniversary of the Liberation War that took place in 1971. Let me in the beginning itself thank KPCC and all the office bearers and leaders present on the dais and the subcommittee that was constituted by the AICC to conduct such programs all over the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, friends, it's truly a privilege to be back in Kerala, to be in Trivandrum, to be at the KPCC office and to meet all of you. And I want to thank Kerala Congress for inviting me here to be a part of this ceremony, for us to witness and to share the moments of glory and joy when our armed forces took on the Pakistani army and were able to liberate and create a new nation on the globe called Bangladesh. The Liberation War was assisted by the Indian Armed Forces, but the leadership at that time was with the then Prime Minister, Srimati Indira Gandhi, who we all know was called the Iron Lady because of the strong stand she took on many difficult challenges that our nation faced. Friends, you can imagine, India had just got independence 25 years earlier. In 1971, when we were faced with huge challenges on our eastern borders and tens of thousands of immigrants were coming into our national borders, it was a human crisis. It was a crisis which India had to face and decisively take action to remedy that problem for all times to come. People of my generation perhaps will not realize the situation in which India and its political leadership operated in 1971. We were a young nation. We had many challenges. We were not economically so strong. Militarily also we were not so strong. Yet the resolve of the then Prime Minister was that we must come to the aid of those who have been targeted, those who wanted our help, and we must all salute really the grit and determination of the leadership as well as of military. General Manekshaw will be remembered as one of the tallest army generals of all times. We saw this short documentary, friends. Can you imagine a country that had recently got independence, that had teeming millions who were hungry in their belly, and our Jawans, our armed forces, our Army, Navy and Air Force, in a matter of days and weeks, were able to liberate a country of 80 million people. Not only that, they took prisoners of war, 95,000 soldiers, officers, generals surrendered to the Indian Army. Wars, my friend, are not won by bullets and tanks. It is the valor of the people who don the uniform. I think as a country we must salute our armed forces, those people who have martyred themselves, and those young men and women who wear a uniform and protect our borders. They are not protecting their families or their communities or their states. We are protecting the Indian nation. Our republic is strong because we have faith in the fundamental ethos of our nationhood. The leadership that was shown in 1971 tells us of the time when, despite difference of opinion, despite having many political parties in the opposition, the nation came together. The country came together. We had differences. We have different opinions, different ideologies, different viewpoints. But all of us represent one nation. That sense of pride in our country, in our motherland, really is the feeling that we must harness, we must capture and pass on to the next generation. Indira Gandhi was Prime Minister of India. She may have been a Congress Prime Minister, but she showed this country what a leader can do. In our subcontinent, democracy had just taken birth. If you look around us in the 70s, whether it's Bangladesh, Myanmar, China, Pakistan, and to some extent even Sri Lanka. None of the countries in the South Asian continent, in our subcontinent, really had a flourishing democracy. India was the only beacon of hope in this entire region which had a sustainable, robust, alive democracy. We are democratically strong because our institutions are strong. In our neighboring countries, the institutions have been weakened. And today, my friends, we face a challenge. Despite being 74, 75 years of being independent, we are facing challenges where our institutions are being undermined. Institutions are created with decades of sacrifice and dedication. To create those institutions, our founding fathers did everything they could. Democracy was considered not a forte of the Asians. People thought illiterate people, downtrodden people can't participate in a democracy. 1952, when our first election was held, many people in the West were questioning whether India can actually hold elections. Today, I'm happy to tell all of you that Indian general elections are the largest planned human exercise on earth. We take pride in our democracy, we cast our votes, we elect and reject governments, and that's what makes us strong. I'm so glad that the All India Congress Committee has decided to have a year-long celebrations to remember those fallen soldiers, generals, military leaders, and Indira Gandhi ji and her government at that time. Imagine the pressures she must have faced from all the large countries, from the Western countries, from European countries, of not going ahead with supporting the liberation movement. It makes me really proud when I saw that documentary today. My late father was a fighter pilot in the Air Force. In 1971, he was posted in Jorhat, in Assam, in Northeast. That was the frontier of the battlefield. At that time, Indian Air Force did not have enough fighter aircrafts. So there's an aircraft called Caribou. It is a transport aircraft. So the Indian Air Force used transport aircrafts to carry missiles and bombs. And I remember as a child, I used to hear stories from my late father about the atmosphere amongst the Jawans and the pilots and the army officers. They were raring to go. In fact, they were fighting with each other. Who will go first? Who will do the first bombing? Who will be in the front line? That sort of emotion really, I think, describes us as a country. To take part in that action, I went to an Air Force school, like somebody, Siddiq was saying. My grandfather was a part of the army. He was not very literate. He was only primary school educated, so he was a non-commissioned officer. He was a Havaldar in the army. My father worked really hard and got himself a commission in the Air Force as a fighter pilot. And all through my growing up years, I also wanted to be a member of the armed forces. Unfortunately, I never got the chance. But I found out that the age bar for entering the territorial army was about 35 or 38, I remember. And I was just close to that. I was 32 or 33. I said, I can't miss this chance because I didn't want to be the black sheep in the family who didn't join the armed forces. So I gave my exam, I gave my interviews, did a medical, I cleared the service selection board in Bangalore, and I joined the territorial army. And I think Siddiq was saying I'm a lieutenant. I got promoted 2 months ago. I'm a captain now. So I'm a captain in the 124 Sikh Battalion, which is posted in New Delhi. To be a part of the fraternity that wears the olive uniform, it's a different feeling. And you know, our armed forces, by the grace of God, are an institution that does not recognize caste and religion and region. In our political discourse today, people are saying, I can recognize you by the clothes you wear. I am proud of the clothes we wear. I am proud that we wear mundus and dhotis and gamchas and skull caps. It's part of our tradition, our composite culture. We are Malayalis and Tamilians and Punjabis and North Indians and South Indians, but ultimately our blood is red and we feel Indian in our hearts. No one can take that spirit from us. Let's use this occasion, friends, because we have our differences. We have difference of opinion. We have confrontation on issues, on ideology, which is all fine. But we have to remember, this great nation has a 5,000-year history. our culture, our heritage, our lineage, our history has always taught us to live together, to bond together. And those forces which try and divide us on issues of language and caste and religion and clothing and attire and appearances, I think are doing a great disservice to our nation. We all belong to the Congress party. It's probably the second oldest political party in the world after the African National Congress of South Africa. This old party has seen its ups and downs, but I think a truly representative party that encompasses all parts of our geography, that takes into account all our different cultural, linguistic differences and brings them all on one platform, is the Indian National Congress. We are proud to be a part of this party, but I think, friends, we have to go out and spread the word and spread the ideological footprint of the Congress party, just like we had in the 70s and 80s. We must move forward, and the next generation of Indians must be told of the great sacrifices and the leadership that Indira Gandhi ji showed. I don't think in today's context we have people of that caliber who had the guts. And remember the circumstances, 50 years ago, India was a much less prosperous, much less powerful nation as we are today. For Indira Gandhi ji to have taken her cabinet along, to have taken the people of India along, to have marshaled the spirits of our armed forces, to get General Manekshaw to lead from the front, to capture 1 lakh Pakistani soldiers, make them surrender, and then followed the conventions of law. All international standards were followed. Even though we took them prisoners, there were no atrocities. These are things that perhaps the younger people are not aware of. I think the KPCC, all our senior leaders who are sitting here, have got together and taken the time to share with all of us and all of you this moment of history. It's something we must take pride in, it's something we must talk about, and I think the Congress party and its leadership through decades has shown that we may be in government, we may be in opposition, but our commitment to the downtrodden, to the safety, security and the forward momentum of our country remains a top priority. I always take great joy in coming to Kerala. Just yesterday, after having invited me here for this program, and I accepted to come and I wanted to come, I got a call yesterday morning, a day before night. They were saying, Sachin ji, now lots of things are happening in Rajasthan. Will you still be able to come to Trivandrum? So I said, I have given you my word. On 23rd morning, I will be in Trivandrum. And I know that it was difficult for me to get away because of a lot of developments that happened in Jaipur and Rajasthan over the last 2 days. But I think the party has taken great efforts to create and manage this event. It's my great honor to be here. Like all my friends here, Suresh ji, Muralidharan ji, Sanitala Saab, PCC President, we have been meeting each other, we have worked together in politics, and I believe that people of Kerala have showered me great love and affection. And every time I come here, I try and do as best as I can for my party, for all our friends, but I urge all of you to really take this moment of history, cherish it, let the young ones in your homes know, that people outside of our Congress family realize what great contributions Indira ji made, our party made, our governments made, and the great valor. I was looking at the list of people who took part, Brigadier Chandpuri, there was a film made on him also. He remained a close family friend of my family till he passed away just last year. So the armed forces, some of you have families of armed forces, the culture and the bond that you have with the armed forces, you know, growing up in the cantonment, and I was a little child, I remember we used to keep getting posted. So my sister was born in Hyderabad because my father was posted there. I was born in Saharanpur, my father was posted there. So families keep moving around, but the bond that we have of armed forces and families of Air Force, Navy and the Army is a special bond, but we all believe that our soldiers who are on the frontiers, who are protecting us, we are living a happy life, a free life, this is because of their sacrifices. And even today, a lot of our Jawans lose their lives fighting for us in the forest, in the deserts, in the snow, in the rain. I think let's all take a moment to thank them and to thank their families that they're giving up their sons so that our sons can grow up and live a happy life. I once again thank PCC and all its office bearers for having invited me here for this program, and a wonderful video that we saw of Indira ji and of the entire liberation war in 1971. I hope in the time to come we will maintain this course, remain united, and despite differences, despite people and political leaders who may try to ignite passion, on religion, and every political election cycle, we have these speeches nowadays on television we see. We have to disregard such speeches. We have to disregard people who try and divide us. Let's be united. Let's be one. Let's move forward. Let's have a better and prosperous Kerala and a better and prosperous India. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
और ऐसे ही नए अपडेट पाने के लिए द सच्चा भारत चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कीजिए। धन्यवाद।